searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Someday you go through the rain, and someday you'll feed on a tree frog. It's ordeal, the trial to survive for the day we see new light. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Olá, meus amigos, aqui é o Giovanni e a partir de hoje vocês vão me acompanhar jogando meu jogo favorito de todos os tempos, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, edição HD, que eu comprei pela PSN, certo? Então, vamos lá. Eu tenho muita coisa que eu poderia falar aqui nessa introdução, mas na verdade eu vou só apertar Start aqui rapidinho, porque a gente tem uma introdução bem demorada e com bastante conteúdo nesse início de jogo, então eu não quero me alongar muito nas minhas explicações sobre o quanto eu amo esse jogo e porque eu decidi fazer esse projeto agora. É o seguinte, cara, geralmente eu jogo, quando eu ponho um novo jogo eu coloco aqui, significa eu gosto de Metal Gear Solid 3, mas por questões de Let's Play eu vou mostrar isso aqui para vocês no YouTube, então talvez tenha algum tipo de conteúdo adicional aqui, algum tipo de tutorial adicional que eles nos apresentem, caso a gente coloque aqui nessa primeira opção I'm playing the MGS series for the first time. Então essa vai ser a opção, e isso não é a dificuldade, certo? Isso é só para o jogo ter uma noção do quanto a gente conhece a série, para ele saber mais ou menos o que ele tem que nos explicar e o que ele pode deixar passar batido. E aqui a gente escolhe o nível que a gente quer jogar. Geralmente eu coloco no normal ou no hard, como eu não quero passar tanto trabalho assim nesse Let's Play, então eu vou colocar aqui no normal, certo? Que já dá uma dificuldadezinha razoável. É provável que a gente tenha alguns fails e mortes e alert phases pelo caminho. Eu gostaria sinceramente de...
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Eu adoro essa introdução inicial. Mas o que eu tava falando mesmo? Já esqueci, droga. Eu tenho uma memória ridiculamente fraca. Bom, gente, eu vou parar de falar porque nós temos história pela frente agora, então confiro essa maravilhosa abertura de MGS3. Por que eu falei MGS e eu não falei 3? Enfim, incoerências à parte. Curtam aí, pessoal.
Flying over Pakistan, altitude 30,000 feet.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cab okay.
Good. We've got high visibility.
Put out that cigar. Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector. Put on your mask. Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
Approaching release point.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Depressurization complete.
Checking oxygen supply.
6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch.
Sunrise.
External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay. All green.
Prepare for drop off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spread your wings
And fly. God be with you.
Dirigido por Hideo Kojima.
Jack, I've got
Esse cara é um
some
gênio.
news.
Esse
Head of the
cara
CIA
é um
has
gênio.
given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission.
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission. Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB-754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov. Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin to orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established design bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story, so why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the west. He used a mole to get the family out first, and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba, and so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No. Missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No. According to our intelligence, he's in Selinoyarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Ok, então a gente já tá mais ou menos sabendo qual é o objetivo dessa nossa primeira missão, a Virtuosa Mission. A gente tem que resgatar então o Sokolov, o cientista russo, acho que né? Que tá trabalhando nesse
Listen up, Jack.
projeto.
Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yask in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov and bring him back to the West.
Enfim, a gente tem que fazer isso que o cara acabou de
If we
falar.
don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking.
Então, a União Soviética tá querendo obrigar o Sokolov a continuar trabalhando nesse projeto secreto de desenvolvimento de novos mísseis nucleares. Então a gente tem que resgatar ele.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proof.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
The shock will be less than during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat talon?
She's equipped with two 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as two 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong,
You'll be eating dinner, breakfast,
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
Essa última frase do Major Zero já foi uma bela sinopse do que vai ser esse jogo, né? Basicamente nós vamos sobreviver na selva. Não, na verdade não durante todo o jogo, mas durante uma boa parte do jogo. E parece que já perdemos alguma coisa pelo caminho. Eu adoro essa cena. Simplesmente adoro. A dramaticidade dessa cena, agora. Genial. Bela vista. Bom, agora eu creio que nós teremos um pouquinho mais de diálogo.
You're already in enemy territory. Somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
You've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training?
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I liked snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No. There's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, How exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button. I'll be monitoring your progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Uma coisa que eu adoro muito nesse jogo é essa quebra de quarta barreira, que é um conceito que a gente fala quando a gente está falando de teatro, que é o fato de bom, gente, a gente já está controlando o Naked Snake, então vamos lá buscar a nossa backpack. Então, sobre o que eu estava falando, é o fato de os personagens, ou sei lá, vamos, Snake, por favor, os personagens falarem com a plateia, ou no caso aqui, falarem diretamente com o jogador, no sentido de que eles têm a noção de que isso é um jogo, então os próprios personagens te falam comandos do joystick, por exemplo, para você usar para fazer as ações dentro do jogo, então isso é uma coisa que eu acho genial nesse jogo. Agora, por exemplo, o cara tá nos explicando como que a gente tem que mexer no menu para trocar os nossos itens. Ao invés de ter um tutorial que teoricamente não faz parte da história do jogo, ao invés disso, os próprios personagens, ao conversarem, eles falam sobre como você deve proceder nas ações do jogo para fazer o que você tem que fazer.
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire.
Essa primeira parte inicial aqui é mais informação para marinheiro de primeira viagem. Como eu já joguei esse jogo aqui algumas vezes, então eu não tenho tanta necessidade assim de ficar prestando atenção nesse diálogo inicial, apesar de que ele tem alguns elementos de humor sutil bastante interessantes que eu poderia comentar. Mas sei lá.
Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers.
Daqui a pouquinho a gente vai ter mais um diálogo, acho que 2 diálogos na verdade. A gente vai ser introduzido a mais 2 personagens importantes no jogo. E aí eu vou tentar ficar quietinho pra gente ver o que eles têm a dizer.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So, how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She.
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
She's also in charge of recording your mission data.
Essa frequência que essas frequências que eles estão falando aqui, a gente não é obrigado a decorar, a gente simplesmente pode acessar o menu e daí essas frequências já vão estar gravadas ali. Mas apesar disso, tem algumas frequências secretas que a gente pode acessar para ouvir certas coisas peculiares, eu diria. Eu vou ver se eu me lembro de fazer isso em algum momento.
She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
Bosses?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Jack, is that you? How many years has it been?
Boss?
That's right. It's me. Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top-secret mission. You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top-secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You're a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means devoting yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if necessary.
The president and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time. and so do the leaders of a country. So there's no such thing as an enemy in absolute terms. The enemies we fight are only enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your codename is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit. A group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah. I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes?
It's good to hear your voice again.
Same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC? Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the Major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Ok, depois desse sábio, belo e inspirador discurso da boss, eu acho que agora a gente vai tentar aprender algumas técnicas de Close Quarters Combat, ou CQC. E eu não sei se ela vai nos ensinar ou não. Acho que não. Ah, ok, a gente já tá por conta própria aqui. Ela acabou não ensinando nada pra nós. Mas tem várias coisas interessantes que a gente pode fazer. Eu não preciso do meu supressor aqui nesse momento. Vamos deixar o motion sensor ligado por hora. E, bom, tem alguns itens que eu poderia pegar aqui, eu acho. De repente. Vamos ver se a gente consegue achar alguma coisa. Vamos, Nick, levanta daí. Muito obrigado. Vamos ver se a gente consegue achar alguma cobra. Isso não vai ser um detonado, tá? Vai ser só um playthrough mesmo. Eu vou jogar aqui como se eu estivesse jogando o jogo normalmente, sozinho em casa. Eu não vou me preocupar em mostrar tudo pra vocês. Até porque esse jogo tem tanta coisa. Ó, aqui tem um item, ó. Beleza, peguei um Life Mag. Eu queria achar alguma cobra por aqui na realidade pra mostrar pra vocês. Bom, acho que a gente já pode seguir para a próxima tela. E até porque, como eu estava falando, eu nem sei tudo sobre esse jogo, porque esse jogo tem tanta coisa que é realmente muito difícil a gente saber tudo. E aliás, até faz tempo que eu não jogo isso aqui, então muita coisa eu vou ter que relembrar ao longo do caminho, enquanto eu estiver gravando os vídeos mesmo. Mas tem várias coisas legais que a gente pode fazer com as técnicas de CQC, por exemplo. Eu vou tentar pegar uma carne desse cara aqui. A gente pode apertar no direcional para se mover bem lentamente. Droga. Pera aí. Aqui, era isso que eu queria fazer. Tudo pra não gastar balas. Aliás, na realidade a gente nem pode matar esse crocodilo aqui com a nossa arma inicial, porque ela é só um tranquilizante. Ali tem uma... Isso aqui é uma... Como é que chama isso? É uma colmeia das abelhas. A gente pode tentar atirar naquele passarinho que tá voando ali também. Vamos ver se ele vai pousar em algum lugar. Aí ele acabou pousando ali, ó. Matei, será? Matei. Ah não, só deixei ele dormindo. Ou não? Ah não, tá aqui. Bird D. Beleza. Já temos comida suficiente para esse início de jogo, então eu vou só prosseguir. E na verdade mesmo, olha, ali tem uma cobra. Na verdade mesmo, eu acho que eu vou até parando a gravação por aqui, porque a gente... Quanto tempo tá? Tá quase 40 minutos, eu acho, gente. Então isso já vai dar um belo de um vídeo inicial, então... eu vou parando por aqui, eu acho. Toda vez... Ah, tem uma cutscene, então beleza, vamos ver isso aqui, depois a gente termina o vídeo.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
Essa mudança de câmera só eu que tô fazendo ao apertar o botão R1, tá? Que nem apareceu ali no canto da tela. Bom, beleza, aqui já estão os primeiros inimigos, mas... vocês só vão ver isso no próximo vídeo. Então, o que eu ia tentar falar pra vocês antes de começar essa cutscene é que toda vez que a gente avança de tela, a gente muda de tela, a gente pode salvar o jogo. E daí o jogo vai ficar guardado no início dessa tela, dessa nova tela na qual a gente entrou. Então, é meio esperto a gente salvar o jogo sempre nessa transição de tela, quando a gente vai para uma nova tela. Não é nada interessante, por exemplo, a gente salvar o jogo quando a gente estiver próximo do fim de uma tela, mas ainda não tiver atravessado, porque de qualquer jeito, quando a gente der load no jogo, na próxima vez que a gente for jogar, o jogo vai voltar para o início da tela que a gente salvou. Então, todo o progresso que a gente fez durante a tela, ele não vai ser salvo, a menos que a gente avance para a próxima tela. Aqui a boss está falando um pouco sobre a camuflagem, que é uma das novas features do Metal Gear Solid 3 em relação aos outros jogos, os jogos anteriores da série. Então a gente pode sempre mudar a nossa camuflagem para ficar menos visível para os nossos inimigos e mais integrado ao ambiente. Vocês podem ver, ó, que quando eu levanto, minha camuflagem está baixa, e quanto mais eu vou me abaixando no chão, mais ela aumenta. Então, ó, aqui está o menu de camuflagem. A gente pode aumentar a camuflagem da nossa cara. Isso aqui não muda muita coisa, então eu costumo deixar sempre na splitter, por exemplo. Raramente eu vou trocar a camuflagem da nossa cara. E aqui a gente já tem uma que a gente pode ficar um pouquinho menos visível usando ela. Mas é isso, gente. Até o próximo vídeo, então. Fui!